Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Aziz, Samuel Abdul Aziz Bubaus, and today I will share with you the best places in the world to form an offshore company, aka the best countries to set up a zero tax company. And this is the only video that you need to watch about this topic, because every country, every company setup that I will present you today is a company setup that I either use or that I used. And it's important for you to know that if you normally do research, there are many blogs and YouTubers who present you countries which sound good on paper. Like British Virgin Islands, yes, it's nice, it's zero tax, but what do you want there? At the end of the day, the banking infrastructure doesn't work, so it's useless. So everything that I represent you today is from my own experience, and at the end of the video, you will know exactly where to set up your e-commerce company, where to set up your crypto company, where to set up your holding company, and how to build your ultimate global infrastructure. So let's jump right into the video. We are starting off with 3 countries that offer pass-through entities. Pass-through entities are basically companies which are not taxable by themselves. So the money is basically just passing through, flowing through the company to the owner, to the shareholders, to the investors, or to the company which is owning this company. So we have 3 countries, and we are starting off with the US. I already told you many times that pass-through entities in the US are tax-free if you're non-US citizen, non-US residents, and if you don't build too much substance in the US. And this setup is obviously great, and in many cases the best setup, especially for e-commerce, but also for asset protection, because you can set up anonymous companies in the US. It's great to cash out crypto, just extremely useful for multiple purposes. You have PayPal, you have Stripe, you can set up the company in 2 days, you can get great fintech bank accounts like Relay, like Mercury, like Wise, you can get great local bank accounts like Chase, JP Morgan, you can get all kinds of payment providers. We have 10, 15 payment gateways for you, even for high-risk businesses. So the overall US infrastructure is great, and it's also great that US LLCs have a great reputation. So nobody is thinking about the US as a tax haven. So overall, that's the reason why our clients are in many cases setting up US LLCs with us. The second country on our list are UK LLPs. UK LLPs work basically exactly the same like the US LLCs, so they are also pass-through entities. So if you are non-UK citizen, non-UK resident, and most of your clients are not from the UK, then you can structure the UK LLP completely tax-free. The difference is obviously that you are more in Europe, so you have a better European banking infrastructure, and it's even faster to set up a UK LLP with banking. So it will take us 1 to 2 days to set up the company and to get banking for the UK LLP. And you can get local banking, for example with Barclays, and there are a lot of great fintech bank accounts for your UK LLP, like Revolut. Revolut is obviously great. You have Silverbird, you have Airwallex, you have World First, and much more. Yes, the US LLCs are more anonymous than the UK LLPs. The UK LLPs are faster, so it just depends on where you live, where your clients are, and it depends on your purpose. The third country on our list is Canada. So you can set up a zero tax pass-through entity in Canada, in British Columbia. So it's a British Columbia LLP in Canada, and it works almost the same infrastructure. You have PayPal, you have Stripe, you have great fintech bank accounts, you can get local bank accounts, so it works almost the same. Canada is especially also good to set up a crypto company. We will show you right now our overview over the most crypto-friendly company setup countries in the world, and Canada is definitely in our top 5. So overall, also good recommendation. Yes, in Canada, if you're Canadian or you live in Canada, it's definitely not a good country. It's extremely woke. But if you set up a company there and you don't live in Canada, it can definitely give you a great structure. It can be anonymous, and the difference is you need 2 members for your Canada LLP, why the US is better to set up as a single member LLC with 1 member. But overall, the 3 countries, Canada, UK and US, are maybe not the best countries anymore to live, but to set up a zero tax pass-through entity with great banking and payment gateway infrastructure, these countries are definitely great and a huge recommendation. Country number 4 on our list are the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands are probably the most famous offshore jurisdiction, which is really useful. I mean, the Cayman Islands are as tax-free as you can be. No income tax, no corporate tax, no withholding tax, no dividend tax, and the infrastructure is great. These Cayman Island companies can basically also mirror, for example, US LLCs. The difference is it's a real corporation, so you need to build substance, but we have many clients who want to build substance in the Cayman Islands, and it can also bring you a lot of advantages to build real substance there. Of course, you can get residency, so you have many options. If you don't want to build substance in the Cayman Islands, we have our team there. We can give you a nominee director, we can give you employees there. But overall, the Cayman Islands definitely make sense, especially if you want to set up, for example, a finance business like trading, forex trading, an investment fund. So there are many possibilities in the Cayman Island, and there's a reason why the Cayman Islands are still one of the most famous jurisdictions for ultra high net worth individuals. Country number 5 on our list is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is also definitely famous as an offshore jurisdiction, and there are many reasons for it. You can set up a zero tax company in Hong Kong because you can apply for the offshore tax exemption. So if your income is not generated in Hong Kong, if your income is generated outside of Hong Kong, you can apply for the offshore tax exemption, be completely tax-free. And this definitely makes sense if you, for example, want to build an e-commerce business in Asia, because Hong Kong gives you the ultimate infrastructure in Asia of payment gateways, of banking, for example, with Bank of China, with UOB. The problem with Hong Kong is that you need auditing. So you need to have your accounting in place, and you need to have auditing, which can be a headache for many entrepreneurs. But if you want to build a legit company and you want to sell this company later on, then this auditing can also make sense. So overall, Hong Kong can make sense in many cases. Option number 6 to set up an offshore company are the UAE. The UAE are obviously great to set up a company, and there are many options in this country. The first option that you have is to set up a zero tax free zone company. We will show you right now the overview over all activities which fall under the tax exemption. If you don't fall under the tax exemption, there are many other ways. One recommendation is, for example, you can set up an investment management company in the mainland in the UAE, and the investment management company is investing and can be structured as a zero tax company. If you don't fall under any of these activities, then I would probably recommend to just set up a legit mainland company, because the banking infrastructure is better. You can do business here in the UAE. You can get your office here everywhere where you want in the UAE, and you can still reduce the taxes to zero. For example, you can just send all your profits to the investment management company and reduce your taxes as investment expenses, or you can set up an offshore company here in the UAE, which is still zero tax and no accounting requirements if you set up an offshore company, for example in Jafsa. And this is definitely a great setup for asset protection, because you can build multiple layers of anonymity. You can get banking in the UAE with Emirates MBD, you can get banking in Singapore, in Seychelles, in Mauritius. So overall, definitely still a lot of options in the UAE, especially if you want to live here or if you want to build substance here. Then there's a reason why most millionaires and billionaires and entrepreneurs are moving to the UAE, because you have the ultimate entrepreneur infrastructure in this country. Country number 7 on our list is Singapore. So in most cases, we don't recommend Singapore to our clients, but if you are a person who wants to build companies and get banking all over the world and who wants to diversify, Singapore can make sense in some cases. So in general, you don't have any dividend tax in Singapore. The only problem is if you build too much substance in Singapore, they can see that you basically, if you bring your income to Singapore, sometimes they see it as income generated in Singapore, but your clients are all out of Singapore, but sometimes they still see it like this. But if you have, for example, your tax residency certificate in the UAE and you just have a holding company or an investment company in Singapore or an offshore company in Singapore, you can be on zero tax with a great infrastructure, obviously one of the safest jurisdictions in the world. And Singapore can definitely make sense, especially if you're ultra high net worth individuals. Yes, it's more paperwork, it will cost you more, but it can definitely be a great option. And these are my favorite countries in this world, but there are much more scenarios, I know this, and this is why you need to book a call with us, because we can really understand your situation as an entrepreneur. For example, many of our clients are from Europe, and they have an e-commerce business in Europe. And if you sell physical products in Europe, you need a European company with VAT. And then we need to see, okay, which options do we have in Europe? I can, for example, recommend Cyprus. Cyprus is famous in Europe as a holding company with zero tax. But if you live in a zero tax jurisdiction or you are a perpetual traveler, you can set up an LLP in Cyprus and be basically completely tax-free. Of course, you have the VAT, but you can reduce the VAT and basically effectively pay no taxes in Cyprus. The other option and other recommendation in Europe is Bulgaria. Yes, there are more taxes. In Bulgaria, you have a 20% VAT, 10% flat tax, but it's definitely still, when you look at Europe, a great option. And we can set up a company in Bulgaria in 2 weeks with banking, and you have Wise and Stripe and so on. So Bulgaria can be a good option. There are more options in Europe that I tried out, but these options were useless at the end of the day. 3 years ago, I was setting up a company in Estonia for my company data business, and I was extremely hyped about Estonia. You have this e-residence, it's the most developed government in the world, and you don't pay taxes if you reinvest in your company. But after some time, I just realized that this e-residence only create problems, because I always need this e-residence card. I can't just pay somebody, and overall, this setup is more structured for really small entrepreneurs. And this is also the feeling that I had when I visit this masterminds. It's created for small entrepreneurs. The same for Romania. I was hyped about Romania because they had a zero tax structure until 1 million, and at this time 4 years ago I had a subscription business which was exactly at 1 million per year, but then they lowered it already to 500,000, and overall Romania doesn't make sense as a high-level entrepreneur. And then even outside of the European Union you have so much more options which sound good. For example, Georgia, also just for small IT entrepreneurs. In Gibraltar, I don't really see the purpose. So many things which don't make sense. Then you have countries like Ireland or Malta or Isle of Man, which can make sense in certain scenarios. But overall, the countries that I mentioned to you are definitely the most useful countries for you with the best infrastructure. So, I hope this video could help you. I know this were a lot of informations, but I just give you the whole list of informations. And then if you need to structure your thoughts, if you need a clear game plan, you can just book a call at wealthconsulting.com so we can help you to build the ultimate structure of your zero tax company, of your holding company or your offshore company or your foundation. We can give you the best banking, the best payment gateways, and much more. So just go to wealthconsulting.com, book a call with us, and I would say see you in the call, see you in the next video, or see you in real life.